Hi everyone, this is Killshot from 99 Gaming's Fear the Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 11. This is our complete recap show. So this is not going to be a super long stream tonight. You guys know, typically we run between 30 minutes and an hour. But because we do a lot of the details, I mean, sometimes the reaction videos are just, straight up reactions. But we got into a lot of the story last night, so this will be kind of the second half continuation to that. Appreciate all of you guys being here. Do promise tomorrow Random Thing's going to be a little bit longer, and we got a lot of stuff in store throughout the week for kills coins and PDL things and just all kinds of stuff that we're going to be doing. If you guys don't know about our game on Friday night, Freestyle Friday, we are doing a scenario called Play Dead Live. Gives you a chance to kind of be in the action a little bit. If you don't know what I'm talking about, get here on Friday night, check it out. So want to give a shout out to the Patreon Army. You can see them up on the screen. They do so much for this channel. Great group of people. And I would not be a good host if I didn't at least do one more thing. You guys know our moderators are phenomenal. And it seems like we have a moderator birthday. Like every week, it's either Steph or Tommy or Kel a couple weeks ago. Well, today is our very own Emmy Desiree, we'll call her. So you guys know Emmy. She does a great job. So just a happy birthday shout out to Emmy. If you guys are on our Facebook fan page, you'll know that a lot of us did a song dedication or a link to song. So she got her very own playlist. So does a tremendous job with the channel. So thank you so much, Emmy, for all you do. And thank you to all the mods for everything that they do. All right, we're going to talk about Fear the Walking Dead a little bit. As I said, we're going to go kind of scene by scene. We'll go through this relatively fast. You have an idea or a thought or something, just go ahead and put it up there. But this show really, I know there were some mixed feelings because last night we talked about it. We gave it a rating. It looks like the consensus was a little bit maybe higher than an 8. There weren't a lot of expectations with this show, but it was better than a filler episode. It lacked a little bit of action, I will say. I think some people wanted a little bit more episode. I've seen it's good, but not great. But I loved it. I thought the characters were good. I like what they're doing with Alicia's story. And I really like this new character that's played by Colby Holman, Wes. I feel like Wes is going to be a mainstay on the show. I'll tell you why as we go through this. Added a lot of elements I thought the show needed. Before we get into Wes, let's talk about how it kind of started out. It's that painting tree story, so you don't know where this is coming from. If you're still, if you're reading this, you're still here. It's Alicia's vision quest. Alicia is on a quest to find the author of this because she thinks it's beautiful, and she really has this hope that it's her mom, that Madison is still out there somewhere. Strand hasn't really spoke up. He's just kind of letting her go through the motions and, let it play out. I don't think he feels like it's Madison, but he wants to let Alicia do her own thing. There's a very interesting vine walker that's there where Alicia, they do this intentionally. It almost appears as if she has no fighting skills whatsoever. She's going through this trauma ever since she killed that last walker and the blood dripped down on her face into her mouth. And, with this particular instance, she's at the tree and she sees two walkers and they're both about, 15, 20 yards away. And instead of moving and going after to attack like she normally does, she waits, she hesitates, and it's Strand. She just wants someone to come bail her out. And he does. But she can't kill any walkers, and I think that's a little bit of the theme. It happens multiple times throughout the show. She does, Roxanne. She freezes, for sure. But she, she still wants to trust, and I think as they hear Wes on the radio, I still got a feeling. And let me see what you guys thought about this. When you met Wes, did you still think he was looking maybe for Heath? I almost felt like we're not tricked, but we're led to believe that Madison could still be out there and maybe Wes is looking for Heath. That there's both these connections in somehow or some way. Ron says no. Maria did. Yeah, Julie, I kind of thought that. Like, maybe that was a little frustration with the episode. not that they're using Madison, because they didn't make us think that, but I just felt like because of some of these connections in the past that they just want to leave it intentionally vague. Eric Beach, good evening, Army. Good evening, Eric. Appreciate you being here. Najee says it made me a little suspicious. We're caught in a trap. We can't walk out. Yeah, I mean, we're very suspicious. I was, and I know in some of the streams it seemed like you guys were the same. And then, we find out, Wes makes these brave, or these references to his brother, and he's waiting, and he's got to find some things. And then we go to the Al and Morgan bank scene. So the Al and Morgan bank scene, it's the first time we get to see the vault, and the reason we know that, I won't say this is vague, we didn't understand the timeline in the beginning. I thought initially Al was going back to the vault because it was a little confusing that she'd already taped those people. And I didn't know if the Clark, right, Joey? I didn't know if the Clark video was going to be shown in at least some small segments. How many like the fact that you sort of have to go onto AMC or YouTube and watch the Althea tapes separately? That we're not going to get to see that actually play out on the show. You got to do a little bit of homework, right? See, Roxanne, that's what I thought. When they went there, I'm thinking like, okay, she's either been there before and we're never getting the Clark story, or we're going to see Clark in some capacity. Yep, and Najee, and then you got that. I liked how Al referred and said, I knew the manager. And it gave us, some of the people that haven't watched it yet, they're probably, wait a minute, did I miss something? I know some people in our stream last night, that's what they were saying, and then I saw some of your comments like, hey, go check out the tapes. Oh, that's what all that stuff was about. So it did kind of make sense, but we knew this was the first time to the vault because Althea didn't put the walker in there to guard it, and she was carrying the tapes. So Morgan made a comment, I did ask this last night, about he's very skeptical that if this group does not make it, that anyone would be around to watch the tapes. So as I thought it touched on a little bit of confidence, maybe a little bit of arrogance with Morgan of, we're the baddest of the bad and appreciate you putting them here, but hopefully we live through this and this could be a waste of time. Althea was convinced it's not. No. Baptize, please don't. please don't with Madison. No. Madison is toast. She's gone. All right. Wes did make the comment as we go back to went back and forth between the two scenes, specifically on two chains of events tonight or last night. Wes said, no offense, but don't you guys have bigger fish to fry? So I don't think Wes was real hip on Alicia checking out all the paintings, all the trees. Or was Wes testing Alicia the same way that Alicia and Strand might have been testing Wes? I want to dig down to this because, as you guys know, I did post on the front cover of this. Is Wes somebody we should be afraid of? And if you heard a little bit of the reaction video last night, I'm a fan. And I don't think I can talk about Wes without giving you too many hints as we go through. So shortly after that, Wes went into this whole, I I know what you're thinking about me because I'm, kind of like back and forth. I know why you're thinking this. I know why you're asking this. And it's because you want me to do this. You want me to do that. So Wes puts up these barriers. And the truth is, Alicia is trying to get to him. Alicia is trying to appeal to his sensitive side. And he doesn't want to show it. When they get to the police station, he's got an agenda. They don't understand that agenda. But Alicia is certainly trying to help. Now, prior to that conversation, the tear gas walker was just good. So we got to see a vine walker and we got to see a tear gas walker. Who would have thought that tear gas would stick in a walker and that walker circles around? One of the best walker fights between a person and a walker in my mind. And the longer Strand, the more he wanted to help, the more blind he got. And it was almost who was going to win. Is Strand going to be able to see long enough to get the upper hand, or is that walker going to circle him around enough where he just can't get in? And I think that's part of it. You're saying, get away, but he couldn't. He kind of got sunk into it more and more. And those of you that watched it, real quick question for the Army. How many have watched the episode more than once at this point? Joey did. I think some of you watched it on Friday, and then some watched it again last night. 2 hands in a radio 3 times. Just once. Several people have. So, your completely honest reaction when Strand was fighting the tear gas walker, what was your real life reaction to that situation? I just want to see if the intent of the writers is striking a chord with the viewers. So some people were scared. Am I the only person that laughed? I could not stop laughing. Maybe many people took it real serious and felt the fear for Strand. I got to be honest, I was chuckling. So I didn't know if the writers meant for me to enjoy that from a comedic standpoint, or if many of you saw like, oh man, Strand's in a little bit of trouble. Is he going to be able to get out of it? Ellis, I didn't really view it from that standpoint. And yes, it was. But, this is goofy. This is fake. I felt like it was intentionally silly that they wanted to show us just something that they haven't shown us before and get a laugh out of us. I mean, at least it got a laugh out of me. Maybe, judging by the response of the audience, might not have been the true intention. But for me, it was funny. And then we get that transition where all of them are there. We're back to caring for Strand, getting the stuff over his eyes. And we get this moment to where Alicia has to take care of Strand. So you got this, Wes seems to be out for himself. Alicia might not be able to kill walkers. Strand blindly in the hallway stabs one in the head. And as they get closer and closer, we finally get that moment to where we feel like Wes has good intentions. Would you agree that when Wes walks up beside Alicia, that you feel a sense of partnership there? And that's the moment where I got to be honest, I liked how direct Wes was. I liked when he was in the back of the truck and he was questioning them. I liked that he had a mission. It seemed like he was there for something that belonged to him. So I didn't start off that's about 4 pages of notes, Steph. I didn't have trust issues with him to begin with. Some did. But I looked at Wes's character from the perspective of, I think I like him and I need validation. How many people looked at Wes as, I'm not sure if I trust him and I need a reason to trust him? You know, there's 2 different ways you could approach his character. So, starting out, trust or no trust? And Viola, I can see that. He wasn't about helping anyone. And I think that's what I liked about his character. Fearless Fetal says, lone wolf. 2 hands on the radio, neutral. Marcia, no trust. Grimes on the radio, no trust. Tom, Bocourse, no trust. I mean, that's all good. Tommy, no trust. And I don't mean if you were a character on Fear the Walking Dead, would you trust him? I mean, as a viewer, do you think he's leaning more toward the negative or more toward the positive? And I felt from the start, and there's a reason why I trusted him very early on. I'm going to give a kills coin to the first person that can read my mind and what it was that made me understand him and believe him right from the beginning of this episode. Absolutely. Fearless Fetal. Hey, Kels, can we get Fearless a kills coin? It was because, and let's make it 2 kills coins. Let's get Viola McGowan in there as well, because both were right on the money with this. He immediately told them about the bike, and he immediately told them about Logan. No hesitation. It wasn't, hey, you know, I called you here and there could be some people after you. It was, these people shot at my bike and I didn't have any other choice. Very straightforward. So I'm thinking, like, that's pretty direct. He's not hiding any punches. He needs some help. He's letting people know he needs some help. But he's also, as Alicia's trying to break him down, he's already breaking them down in the back of the truck. Now, we come to find out he's minimizing his own story when he says to her, don't you have bigger fish to fry? Now, we know later on, Wes is the author of that. He's the author of what's on the tree. And I think he finds it interesting that she is already attracted to his story before she's ever seen the manuscript. So good stuff there. So there was also, you gotta have to be quick on this because I'm gonna give away another kills coin. So get ready. If you guys are new to the streams and you don't know what a kills coin is, it is a virtual currency that we use for Freestyle Fridays. It's like a super chat. Lets people. You'll learn. You'll learn what they are. They're a lot of fun. There was a callback to the Walking Dead TV show last night in a conversation between Alicia and West, and what was it? They paid some serious tribute to The Walking Dead. Roxanne Dunlap is like fire tonight. Close. You know what? Let's do two more. Let's go with Roxanne for the attempt and Brian H.M. for actually getting it right. Alicia asked Wes, how many people have you killed? Which was certainly a callback to The Walking Dead. So we'll go with two more. We're good. We got you, Roxanne. Brian had the correct answer. Roxanne, certainly that's what they asked. So that was a nice callback. Then we switch scenes once again, and we get Morgan and Althea, and we get the legendary Logan roadblock. Logan has some jokes there. Nice one-liner from Logan when they said, would you mind moving your truck? Well, we'd love to, but we've run out of gas. That has a pretty big meaning. For some reason, and we talked about this last night in the reaction video, Morgan and Althea are not afraid with all these people and their guns. Logan has seen some of the tapes and knows Morgan's story, so he certainly pushes Morgan's buttons. Now, how many people are like me and they went to a commercial break and you see Strand kind of, drinking that beer and we'll be back in 60 seconds, that type of thing. And then we come back and they've already walked back to the truck. So they had like this standoff. And then we go to commercial break, and Al and Morgan are back at the truck looking at a map. And as we transition, we're about 23 minutes in. You guys do me a big favor. We got a ton of people here. If you guys like what we do, if you like the reactions, if you like the recaps, random things, bold predictions, Freestyle Friday, Play Dead Live, do me a favor. Hit that like button, everybody. Show some love for the Army, for the moderators, for those of us that put this together. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Just a little reminder. So once they have a chance to look at the map, Morgan says, they got to storm up. I just got to know. I got to know what this is all about. So he storms up and says, why do you need the gas? We learn a little bit about Logan. We learn that Logan came up with the phrase, take what you need, leave what you don't, all that stuff, all that do-good garbage, all that, Logan's getting real hyped up. And he's telling everybody, well, I used to be you. I did that, and I'm not anymore. You keep believing in your cause. And he looks at Althea, and then at Morgan, he says, this is big girl stuff. This is big boy stuff. It's a bigger purpose than the convoy. Now, we've speculated that maybe somebody has someone of Logan's hostage. But I do agree, Joey, and Grimes on the radio, at this point, the way Fear the Walking Dead likes to connect the dots, I think we would be a little naive to think that Al is the only person that has had a run-in with CRM. I certainly think Logan is working in conjunction with the group, but he can't talk about them, right? Because we know they delete things, they erase people, they get rid of people. And I don't think Fear the Walking Dead has time this season, to be perfectly honest, to tell a brand new villain story. I think they have to close off some of the stories they already have. And Deborah, I agree. I think once Logan does what they need him to do, they're probably going to finish him off. So we get Morgan versus Logan. He pushed the buttons. You don't talk about his family. As we mentioned in the reaction video, it was a little surprising the group didn't gun him down. But it's probably not surprising because they're really desperate for this fuel. We saw they weren't going to kill Dwight, but they certainly were going to burn his memories. This group is not going to gun down Morgan. They're going to wait until he gives them what they want, the journals, leads them to where they need to go. But CRM, I agree. I think they're the big villain that's coming in the very near future. And that's why maybe it's okay that, as we talked about last night, are we on that fringe to where the show is not quite as dark enough for us, it's not quite as action-packed, but if this group is what we think they are, I think all the patience that we've had will be worth it. There's a lot of these morals to the story, and every week it kind of feels good and leaves you in a good place. But I just don't feel like ultimately it's going to leave us in a good place. I think the story's going to be in a good place, but I don't know if it's going to be. I think it's going to be much, much bigger than we can fathom even right now. Depending on what they've done, how many people they have, the extent that they'll go to accomplish their goals. Now, was there anybody else shocked that we are this far along in a zombie apocalypse and there's so many weapons and so much ammunition in this police station? How many of you in a zombie apocalypse would probably raid all the grocery stores and all the police stations? So the fact that they're still finding like unopened bullets. Now, if they've got all those things, they got to have a stockpile of bulletproof vests. Could we just not grab 15 or 20 bulletproof vests and just take them back to the group? Exactly. But they even had their own gym inside there. Yeah, I'd be decked out in riot gear, no doubt. All right, so I do want to talk, as we started out this episode, Wes has some pretty good shooting skills. I mean, from a distance, he's accurate. In fact, I didn't go through and count each one. I mean, he got a couple shoulder shots. But Wes is one of the most accurate shooters I've seen on the television show. And I like that. I'm thinking like, wait a minute. It's a police station. Was Wes a cop? Crystal's, you know what? I'm not just chuckling at the idea, but Crystal's like, hey, I bet he's CRM. We could have a lot of connections to CRM. Maybe, but Michelle G, that was my first thought. Rick was a cop and can't shoot. Wes might not be a cop and can shoot. So where does he get all this practice? Leprechaun says cops are bad shooters, though. Rick is the stormtrooper of the Walking Dead history. But on the topic of Wes, I'm giving away another kills coin because there was something that was Fear the Walking Dead coincidence. They do it every week. The first person that can tell me what it is in last night's episode, we're going to give away our 5th kills coin. Had to do with Wes. And that is it. Eric Beach is on the money. Absolutely. The Fear the Walking Dead coincidence last night was Wes was taking target practice and the one miss hits the window. And that happens to be the hole. They're standing right in front of the glass. The walkers can't get through. And the one time he misses, puts a bullet hole into the glass, and that allows the walkers to come through the window. Great. I mean, it happens. Tom Bug Ferreira says that was a meme. Where's the meme, Tom? I missed it, Bug. But I do know Godzilla's coming out on Blu-ray. That's for you. Tom Bugzilla Ferreira. Benjamin Stevenson. John Dory's more accurate. The bullet split. The San Antonio split. That's right. I mean, I wouldn't want to see, if I was Wes, I wouldn't want to do a quick draw contest against John Dory. I think John Dory's going to win that. And the San Antonio split was pretty good. But I certainly, if there was a stockpile of guns and I could pick 2 people to partner with, I'm picking Wes right now and I'm picking John Dory. Roxanne thinks Wes might have been former military. John is greater than Wes, who's greater than Rick. It's, well, you know what, Brian? I'm just going to ask this question. It's gonna take a little bit of thought here. We should probably save it for random things. Can you think of a character out of the top of your head that is a worse shot than Rick Grimes? I love me some Rick Grimes. But I can't think of anybody right off the top of my head that it was a worse shooter. Eric Beach. Kills. Are we hitting episode 12? Death this week. We're going to do bold predictions on Thursday night, Eric. But yes, I think we're finally going to get a death. I got to think that Grace it is going to go. Ben Stevenson says Carl. Sasha, you're right. Sasha missed a big shot. Carl, you know what? I would challenge a couple of you. I know Ben Stevenson says Carl. A couple of you others say Carl. How many saviors did Carl mow down when he jumped out of the back of that truck? That could be a trivia question. I don't know right off the top of my head. But Negan wasn't real happy about it. I know that. Next thing you know, Carl was singing "You Are My Sunshine, My Only Sunshine" after getting a tour of the sanctuary. I missed another super chat. So the meme was, what's this? I don't know that meme, Tom. You stumped me. You stumped me again, my man. Tom Bug Ferreira, it gives me homework sometimes. But I will take note of it. Julia says, I really need an example of Rick not shooting straight. Oh, man, I can give you a ton of examples. Even when... Remember when Rick was chasing down Negan when he set Lucille on fire? Julia? Wasn't he like almost point blank range? Steph's like, watch an episode. Any episode. Yeah. That was probably the closest. But hey, don't get me wrong. He got better with the dynamite, which kind of proves the point. When Rick is punctured by rebar and on his deathbed, he's a much better shot than when he's in hot pursuit. He can throw an axe though. That's a great point too. He can throw an axe. He can bite your neck off. And he did. He shot the rope. I think it took him about 3 shots to hit the rope. So he was gradually getting better. We got a Bug Ferreira saying Carl shot 2. Kel is the queen of trivia. Kel, I'm gonna leave that data up to you. So Kel, it is your trivia quest before tomorrow to get us an official death toll number of the number of saviors that Carl killed? That's a good point, Crystal. He might be a little better now that he's in CRM. Well, I feel like that's going to play out. That when we get to the movie, we're not getting 45 minutes of an hour and a half movie of Rick doing rehab. I think we're going to get Rick well quick, and we're going to see Rick is tied to this group because he's afraid they're going to go level Alexandria. So I think he's going to be a good soldier and do what they need to have done, which means he's going to have to train, and he'll be practicing, certainly. So we got a little bit more to kind of get into to tie out the complete episode because we're about 90% done with discussing this. So what was easy about discussion tonight is the fact that we didn't really get John and Dwight and the rest of the group's story. We basically stuck to two different storylines. Eric Beach says, super chatting it up. Eric says, if Carl wouldn't have been bitten, he would have never died. Kid could take it. You know, Eric, I got to take a step back with that because Carl was tough. And I think some of the fans of Carl felt like he got cheated because of the way he died. Well, first, I think it was emotional because the fans of Carl didn't want him to die. Secondly, there was really no comparison for him to die because he was alive in the comics. So any death would have felt like it wasn't epic enough because you're a fan of Carl. Now, people that are neutral, like myself, we didn't really care. Honestly, if Carl was going to leave, I didn't need it to be this great storyline of whose death he was going to get. I kind of got the point of what they were trying to do with it. And all personal feelings aside of why people, whether it's contract or whether it's Gimple or what happened with that, you can have your own judgment. I feel like the death of Carl was due to the writers making a mistake with Glenn and Abraham. It's always been my feeling. I have very, very strong convictions with it. I think that there was almost no story that was going to start the redemption arc of Negan. I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. They painted Negan so evil that they had to give all these human traits to Negan. He had to show he cared about Sasha and he was willing to kill Davy. He had to show that Carl's death was for the bigger purpose. That they even used it for several people with Maggie, with Michonne. When Maggie's or Michonne's talking to Maggie, and she's basically like, "Well, Carl's death can't be for nothing." Well, that's an eye-opener for people. So they used all this Carl's death to get us to get Negan back to a good spot when they really didn't have to make him that off the deep end. He could have been revenge. He didn't have to be revenge with a little bit of moonlight dancing. That moonlight dancing after he killed Glenn was the reason Carl Grimes died. In the story. Now, maybe there was some outside stuff going on, but it certainly made it more necessary. Because, remember, Negan loved Carl. Negan thought Carl was the future. No, Carl didn't die to save Negan, Brian. Carl died so the writers had an excuse to change the storyline and and make everybody want to put down their weapons, to make it for a bigger purpose, the Carl Grimes purpose. And I don't think it resonated with all the audience, because look, there were two things that happened. One, if you liked Carl, you're mad because he's dead. You don't see him as a martyr. You don't see him as somebody who's going to carry on the story and be a legend, because you're still mad because he's dead. And if you didn't like Carl, well, you think the story was kind of a little bit corny because they didn't do it the right way and they needed to do it. So it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. There was no winning. And that's why they had to not only, well, I use the word have. It's why they killed Carl. It's why they killed Simon. It's why Negan had to destroy Davy, just like in the comic. It's why they had to have Judith come visit him and do her homework with him every day. I mean, look at the steps they took just to get us to a point where we can not get sick whenever we see Negan. Eric Beach says, shot twice and had a vet do surgery on him. Yeah, he tough as nails. And you know what? To the purest of the world, Eric, Carl went through, all those things, and he got knocked down by a walker and he got bit in the side. So I think the moral is, even if you're tough like Carl Grimes, when it's your time, it's your time. Now, I do feel like that maybe the Walking Dead writers could borrow a page out of the Fear the Walking Dead story. There's got to be a moral somewhere. It looks like the people on Fear the Walking Dead know how to tell a moral story. The people on The Walking Dead, they struggle with it a little bit more. It's about who's going to die this week and which prisoner we're going to take over next. Well, and CD Train, that's my point, right? I think you made the case for me. Donnie D Train says, I didn't like Carl, but give him a better death. Well, that's the conversation, right? What would be a better death for Carl? Whose death should he have taken? Or just kind of put him in a church and let him shoot himself? I mean, I guess, what do you do with him? And believe it or not, because Carl was in the church, would you believe there were conspiracy theories that Carl never really shot himself? That was out there. I'm not making this stuff up. Ben Stevenson, I bet Gregory the Coward would be the worst shot. That's probably, you might have found somebody. But, even Gregory kind of shaking and talking and kind of halfway looking at you, still might get lucky and hit somebody every once in a while. Hey, Dark Star, that is not my theory. I won't tell you where to look, but I will say there were people broadcasting Carl Grimes is not dead. There were news publications saying, what if Carl really didn't die? I mean, it's why I love funneling it. They don't need to show us the remains of Carl for us to get the idea. They don't need to show us a burnt to a crisp, charbroiled Madison for us to get the fact that she died in that stadium. It's the same thing. That, Deborah Farrell, I agree with. Carl is certainly with Madison. All right, so we're going to finish up this Logan story. And Logan finally caught up with the person that took his book, took his manuscript. And just had an epic line. This guy was not Walker yet. He was strong enough to try to choke Logan down, and Logan wasted no time. Logan could have punched him, could have knocked him off. He wanted to kill him. He thought that what he did, there was no redemption. I'm sorry. Absolutely. I got Logan. I got Logan on my mind. I told you guys it was going to be a short stream. Rewind that. Wes. I did. We should have stopped at 30 minutes. Wes's storyline. Wes in the manuscript. He could have punched him down. He didn't. Wes was about principle. And we won't edit it because, hey, we're live. You guys know when you go live, it's going to happen from time to time. But Wes believes that this manuscript is more valuable to him than the money and the jewels that they showed in the vault. He's a good shot. Wes has a position. And that's what I like about him. There might be some gray area. We'll find out. I think we'll find out because I do think we're going to see Wes again. But he sees something. It violates his principle, and he takes action. And Alicia made it a point to pick up the manuscript and say, hey, you forgot this. And he had what I thought was one of the best lines in the history of Fear the Walking Dead. This is something, to me, that is up there with no one's gone until they're gone. I think prior to tonight's episode, and that still might be, the one thing about Fear the Walking Dead that I remember is Madison saying, but Wes said, he died for it, he can keep it. Very, very powerful statement. Died for it, let him keep it. Wasn't about my book. It was so important for you to take that from me and suffer the consequence, and you suffered the consequence. And the line at the end of Wes's manuscript that he wrote for his brother Derek was exactly what was on the tree. If you're reading this, you're still here. And that inspired Alicia. It gave Alicia closure to Madison because she knew at that moment it wasn't Madison writing on the tree. Wes saw the writing that Alicia did, brought a tear to his eye. So it gave him some validation. And I think we know that Alicia's time is limited, but she's trying to live through Madison to bring a little bit of light, that no one is gone until they're gone. And to me, that was great closure to that story. And then, of course, we leave it with the transition of the bank. And Fear is starting to gradually get a little bit darker, a little bit dark. Look, I don't think Logan's going to be at a point where he kills anybody. But he certainly is getting closer and closer to his goal. And his goal is to disrupt, to find out, to report back. I would still be shocked if Logan does execute anybody, but I think he's going to be a real big thorn in the group side. Roxanne says the bank thing better come up with something huge. Next week does look good. I like the direction season going, says Najee Watts. I do too. One of the big questions we asked the group last night in reactions was, are you impatient with the story? Does it need to kill off some major characters? Are they going too slow with it? And now that you guys have had a chance to listen to the reaction stream, see some of the information that's out there, listen to our complete recap, because this is our complete recap, I'm going to ask you the question again. Way too slow, just right, or leaning toward too slow? That they need to start to get somewhere with it, because we've only got a little bit more patience to get to this story and to make it mean something. Maria says, it's just right. I'm good with it. Ron says leaning. Ben says leaning toward too slow. Just right. So that gives you kind of three different viewpoints. I'm still of the mindset, we're not perfect. Look, they got a tough job of writing the story. We're the ones sitting at 20,000 feet looking down and evaluating. But if I were asked for my opinion, I would say it's leaning on the verge of too slow, which means if it's a big, big reveal, if they ramp it up, I'm going to forget that I ever said it's leaning toward too slow. Because if it gets to where we need it to get, and I think it will, I'm fine. I'm fine with taking a little bit of extra time. But if we're still saying this in 2 episodes, when we're on like 13, 14, 15, it's like, is anything going to happen here? So there was a taste of action. There was some closure. We're getting a little bit more data out of the tapes. But I think within an episode, we got to have some proof. And that's why when Eric Beach asked a little bit ago, do I think that there's going to be some death in the future? I mean, there's only so many gunfights you can have. We've already seen, we've seen some action. We saw a gunfight with Wes and the Walkers. We saw a OK Corral showdown with the Walkers and the San Antonio split and June, John, and Dwight. So we've been there. We saw the radioactive Walkers with Alicia. So there's been some good battles, but there hasn't been that loss. But there's been the tease of loss all around us. There's a tease of Sherry possibly being gone. Something happened to her. There's the tease that Alicia could be gone very soon. And also Grace is going to be gone very soon. But, I mean, we did lose a couple characters that we don't really know and don't really care about. I mean, I'm sorry, I already forgot the guy's name. The dude under the stars last week. It's a good story, but, we lose Jimbo the Beer Bow, and we lose a guy that we meet in one episode, and we don't even know who he is, and the group is growing. So I'm not saying that that's a necessity toward a great show. Chuck, that's who he is, Chuck. You guys remember him much better than I do. Yep. Chucky, yep. That's who we lost. Grimes on the radio, though, says big deaths coming June, Grace, and Alicia. So, great point. Hey, we're actually at 58 minutes, which is much longer. As I said, about 3/4 of the way through the stream, I'm already calling Wes Logan, and God knows what other mistakes we possibly made. But I really liked the episode. I thought it got me to a point where I felt good with it. There's one caveat to that comment. If we never see Wes again, I don't like the episode. I'm taking it back. If Wes was a one-hit wonder, and he's not a permanent part of this show, I will not give it the 9 that I gave it. I'm going to lower it all the way down to a 6. If Wes's story becomes a permanent part of this, I'm keeping it strong. They need to run into him again. But if you just put this character with all that potential out there and we don't get some development out of that, it would potentially, this would be the biggest waste of a Walking Dead character since Ozzy. How many people thought Ozzy was a waste on The Walking Dead? That Ozzy had some big time potential. That we didn't get enough of the Oz. Well, if you liked Ozzy on The Walking Dead and you thought he had potential, I'm going to tell you, I think Wes has twice the potential. So, shout out to you, Colby Holman. If you're watching, you got a fan club. I'm on board. Once again, we asked for this last night. So let's get some hashtag Wes or Wes in the house. Colby, this is for you. They need to put you on the show. My new favorite character on Fear the Walking Dead is Wes. Wes is my Abraham. Wes is my Mel the Vulture. So, yeah, I'm a fan. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Appreciate that. He did a tremendous job. They need to bring him back, though, as quick as possible. I certainly think he'd keep viewers interested. He's got a very direct demeanor, not going to be a person that's going to take any crap, and I think he's got some leadership potential in the future. He's somebody that I think the group would certainly follow because he's decisive and he's definitive. Hey, thanks, everybody, for everything that you do, from the playbacks to, look, Emmy super chatting on her birthday. Come on, Emmy. Thank you so much, 909, for all the amazing posts, comments, and all around birthday love. My feels are overflowing. My unicorn sparkles are glowing. Hey, that rhymes. My feels are overflowing. My unicorn sparkles are glowing. We could have saved that for... Is that you know what? That's got to be part of that unicorn song, I bet. I have not listened to it, but if it's not, it should be. That should be a lyric. It's not my job on your birthday anymore. It's not my job on your birthday. Emmy, as you guys know, we will have rhyme time tomorrow. Let me give a couple other shout-outs real quick, and then I'm going to bring this full circle because I want to give a shout-out to all the Patreons. You guys are awesome. Thank you for everything that you guys do. The Green Team, do me a favor. Can I see just like a whole page? Green Team, flash me some unicorns. If you guys are not members and you want to be able to flash a unicorn, there's a join button down below. Just saying. So if you guys want to join the 999 Army, certainly a way to do that. But Green Team, I want to see some unicorns up on the screen. Also, the moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells, do a tremendous job. I can't put into words all they do for this channel. They are phenomenal. And each and every one of you, a big shout out to all the Army. You guys are here for reactions, for recaps, for random things tomorrow at 9:30. It's going to be our last random thing of our mini season, so you want to be here. We're going to narrow down the greatest songs of the 90s, a whole bunch of other stuff that we have going on. Wednesday, we'll see if we have something on Wednesday. We've been taking Wednesday off, but I'll get back to you guys on Wednesday. Thursday, we'll definitely do bold predictions. Freestyle Friday with our Play Dead live scenario. It's going to be a great scenario. I've gotten some good pictures from each and every one of you. And then Saturday morning is Coffee with Kills. And lastly, I do want to say, Julia, it's the last random things because we run them in cycles and then we bring them back. So it won't be the last one that we ever do, but we run them in sets of 4. And this guy has a vacation planned in the very near future, so I'm going to let you guys know what that's going to be all about. We're going to miss a few days, but I will let you know in advance where I'm going, what I'm doing, all of the above, and how many nights that we're going to miss streaming. So that will be posted soon. So I want to close tonight's stream, get together, all of the above, with a special shout out to Emmy. I know she's gotten a lot of posts. I know she's gotten a lot of comments. We've linked some songs. If you guys have not seen our Facebook fan page, check it out. It's by invitation only now. So if you're interested, send one of us a message and how long you've been with the 999 Army, and we'll get you a personal invite and get you added to that. But Emmy works tirelessly. She does an amazing job. She's one of the first people in the morning to greet new people, to post, to comment. I have never seen Emmy have a bad day. I've never seen her angry. I probably said some things to make people angry in the past, but boy, does she take it all in stride. What an amazing member of this group. Absolutely proud for her to be part of this group, and each and every one of you should be proud that she supports and really truly represents everything that we want to do in this 999 brand. So thank you so much. Appreciate that, and as always, you guys are amazing. Be here tomorrow night, and we'll have a whole lot of fun stuff to do. I will talk to you all then. Peace.